Welcome back, fantasy football fans. We're back with more 2018 NFL Draft analysis. Some will say that this is a weak wide receiver class and that there are no wide receivers worth a high first-round pick, but we respectfully disagree when it comes to Alabama's Calvin Ridley. It's often difficult to project whether or not certain skill sets or traits will translate to the NFL, but when it comes to Ridley, there's little doubt. And no, we're not even talking about the 4.35-second 40-yard dash that he ran 2 years ago. The first thing you'll notice when you watch Ridley is that he's a phenomenal route runner who uses his footwork to get defenders off balance and create separation at any level. When most wide receivers are drafted, they simply haven't been taught how to run the full route tree. Ridley does not have this issue. His intelligence is there too, as he's smart enough to read a zone and find a hole to sit down in. Some will look at his stats from 2016 and 2017 and use them as a knock against him, but the quarterback talent was simply not there in order for him to post those gaudy numbers. He also played in an Alabama offense that relies heavily on the ground game and championship defense. His 967 yards and 5 touchdowns are actually quite the accomplishment when you think about the fact that his quarterback, Jalen Hurts, averaged just 18 pass attempts per game and threw for just over 2,000 yards on the entire 14-game season in 2017. Ridley's biggest season came as a freshman, posting over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns with then quarterback Jake Coker. Coker was recently asked about Ridley and said, unguardable. He would run these bender routes where he'd have a hash read and he'd just break it off and go vertical and nobody could stay with him. He accelerates so fast out of his break, he's unguardable. His speed is one thing, but when he makes a cut, that's where he gets separation because he doesn't lose a step. He and Amari both have that. When being compared to a wide receiver who posted back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons to start his career is never a bad thing. We all know that Cooper is one of the true route technicians in the game. Ridley can go from a full sprint to a stop faster than anyone in this draft, giving his quarterback a nice big target to throw to. It also doesn't hurt that he's very sure-handed. As for his weaknesses, he's got good vision when he's in the open field, but he won't be a guy who's going to break many tackles at the pro level. He's also a bit smaller than you'd like at 6'1", 188 pounds, and may struggle with press coverage of the more physical cornerbacks in the league. If you recall, this was also a knock on Antonio Brown back when he was drafted. With that being said, if they miss on the press, Ridley will beat them deep as he's got the speed to get over the top of a defense. And lastly, he's an older prospect as he'll turn 24 years old at the end of 2018. Still, Ridley is very much deserving of a first-round pick and is likely to be the first wide receiver off the board come April. The Bears are a team who are in desperate need of a wide receiver to pair with Mitchell Trubisky, and that's when you should start to look to hear Ridley's name in the draft. It wouldn't be a bad landing spot either, as he'd likely walk into 100-plus targets on a talent-depleted wide receiver core that was starting Josh Bellamy and Dontrell Inman on the perimeter in 2017. Should Ridley land with the Bears or another team where he walks into that number 1 wide receiver role, expect to spend a top 80 pick on Ridley in fantasy drafts. While there's still a lot to be decided, it wouldn't shock us if he finished inside the top 25 fantasy wide receivers this year. He's that good. Other teams who could show interest in the first round include the 49ers, Cardinals, Ravens, and Cowboys. If you're looking for a comparison, look no further than former Colts wide receiver Reggie Wayne, who was also a bit of a smaller stature, but developed into a number 1 wide receiver and finished with 8 1,000-yard seasons.